Hi Grace, how you doing? Okay, I've got the cast of Friends. I want to zoom out a little bit so we can get a little bit of closer look at the series as opposed to individual illustrations. Now, I think this is the most successful of these series, and the reason I say that is because it doesn't have any of these really dramatic changes in tone, depicting shadow and highlight. So these ones have this kind of style that is really depicting a wide range of tonal variation, specifically in the shadow areas, and that ends up looking like face paint or some sort of a zombie-esque. And I've used that term before, so I don't want to sound derogatory, but I've used that term before. You may have heard it in other critiques, but they start taking on these kind of zombie-like characteristics when you try to create too much tonal range here. So I'd say really tone it down. Like here, for example, there is no tonal variations at all. This is all done with contour lines, and then just this one shadow right here. But as you can see, there is a degree of realism here that we're just not seeing in your illustrations. I think a lot of it has to do with your application of color and lack of consistency in the presentation of the skin tones, specifically the shadows and the highlights. So this one, for example, we've got these really dark shadows, and they're as dark, easily as dark as the eyebrows. So they almost look like they're going to end up being face paint, right? And then the color of the lips is definitely bright pink. I think this one is applying color in a way that isn't indicative of the original image itself. Right here, we want to create some detail through here. Take a look at the nose presentation here, and then take a look at the nose presentation here. See how it's just kind of, it's not drawn in, but the shapes are alluded to by these contour lines and some associated tonal variations, not heavy tonal variations at all. I mean, they're very, very subtle. Otherwise, we would see these kind of ink strokes that we see here, 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 here. So we really got to tone it down a little bit, I think. I think the basic outline, the hard lines is good. It's a good start, but I think that we definitely want to depict, like for the example, these nose areas. You can depict a nose with just a couple of lines placed successfully instead of trying to draw the nose in. Do you see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Some really super simple lines, and see, this one is just created by that line right there and just a little highlight. So I really think at this point, I think that these just need some fine tuning. Definitely need some fine tuning. Spend some time with these. Be sure to go through these tutorials. There's a couple in week 6, and then these tutorials in week 8. So I'm sorry, week 7. So you definitely want to take a look at those. I think it's really important to take a look at those tutorials. These are demonstrations. They really show you a nice job of developing some of the facial characteristics in a way that's subtle enough to not create this kind of very, very heavy tonal variations. Okay, so again, just some fine tuning. That's all. Just really spend some time on these and keep doing what you're doing and follow those tutorials a little bit more, and I think we'll be fine. As far as typography goes, right now you've got your typography located in 4 different spots in the composition. So I would recommend grouping this together. So iconic American entertainers. That's one associated thought. So I mean, I would put it, maybe you could even put 3 lines: iconic American entertainers, or iconic American and then entertainers on the next line, and then just keep that forever alone down there. So I would not recommend stacking your type like this, because that rarely ever works. So all right, so those are my recommendations, and if you want to resubmit this week, I'll be glad to make further recommendations and comments and observations, etc. I just noticed your clipping mask is not working right there. So you want to address that. Looks like your clipping masks are inconsistent as well. So we see right here, this clipping mask right here is like just right about where that first indentation for the first perforation is, right there. But this one is considerably low. Well, no, that one's the same spot. This one's higher. That one's up a little bit higher, and then that one's, yeah, so you're okay. You're okay. Just watch the clipping mask with this one, Phoebe, I think is her name. Okay, so like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or other, please feel free to let me know. Thank you very much.